Have you ever felt stuck, like your circumstances define who you are? What if I told you the key to unlocking your true potential lies not in what you have, but in what you think? The legendary Napoleon Hill once said, "What you think about, you become." This isn't just a motivational quote. It's a fundamental law of the universe, and I'm about to share a story that proves it. It's a story that will challenge how you see yourself and your place in the world. So stay with me because what you're about to hear could change everything. Imagine a bustling railway station. Amidst the chaos of travelers rushing to catch their trains, a beggar sits in the same spot day after day. His world is small, confined to the few square feet of pavement he calls his own. His mindset is even smaller. He sees himself as a taker, a man with nothing to offer, surviving solely on the pity and generosity of strangers. His entire identity is wrapped up in the word beggar. He believes he is poor, he believes he has nothing, and so that is his reality. He holds out his hand expecting to receive because in his mind, that's all he can do. One afternoon, a well-dressed businessman walks past. The beggar, as usual, extends his hand, muttering a plea for some spare change. But the businessman stops and looks at him, not with pity, but with a sharp, discerning eye. He doesn't reach for his wallet. Instead, he says something that shatters the beggar's routine. "I operate on the principle of exchange," the businessman states calmly. "I give something and I get something in return." "What can you give me?" The beggar is stunned. "Give you? I have nothing. If I had something to give, I wouldn't be sitting here begging." The businessman shakes his head. "That's where you're wrong," he replies. "You have to believe you have something to give before you have the right to receive." He then adds a powerful challenge. "Think about it. I'll be back this way in a week. Find something to give me, and I will gladly pay you for it." With that, he walks away, leaving the beggar in a state of deep confusion and contemplation. For the first time in years, the beggar truly thought. The businessman's words echoed in his mind. Find something to give me. What could he possibly offer? He looked at his ragged clothes, his empty bowl. Nothing. He felt a surge of frustration. But then, as he stared blankly at the grassy patch near the railway tracks, he noticed them. A small cluster of vibrant, wild flowers. An idea, fragile at first, began to form. He had no money, no possessions, but he could pick those flowers. They were beautiful, and they were free. He could give people a flower in exchange for their coins. It was an exchange. The next day, the beggar's spot at the station looked a little different. Beside his usual bowl, he had a small, carefully arranged bunch of wildflowers. When the first person dropped a coin into his bowl, he didn't just nod his thanks. He picked up a flower and offered it to them. The person was surprised, then a wide smile spread across their face. They took the flower, and to the beggar's astonishment, they reached back into their pocket and gave him even more money. This happened again and again. People weren't just giving out of pity anymore. They were participating in a joyful exchange. Their smiles were worth more than the coins. For the first time, he felt a flicker of pride. He wasn't just taking, he was giving something that brought a moment of beauty and happiness to others. His income doubled, then tripled. But more importantly, something inside him was changing. He was starting to see himself not just as a receiver, but as a giver. A week later, just as he had promised, the businessman returned. He saw the beggar, surrounded by little bouquets of flowers, engaging happily with passers-by. The beggar recognized him immediately and, with a newfound confidence, walked over and handed him a beautiful wildflower. "This is what I have to give," he said, his voice steady. The businessman smiled warmly. "Excellent," he said, handing him a crisp bill, far more than he had ever received at once. As he took the flower, he leaned in and said something that would ignite the final, most profound transformation. "You know," he said, "today you are no longer just a beggar. You have become a businessman." Those words struck the beggar like a bolt of lightning. A businessman. He looked at his hands, which had spent years collecting flowers and arranging them. He thought about his interactions with people, his customers. He wasn't begging, he was selling flowers. The label beggar fell away, replaced by a new, empowering identity. He was a businessman. A wave of exhilarating clarity washed over him. What was a businessman doing sitting on the floor of a railway station? He belonged in a shop, with a proper stall, growing his enterprise. That very day, he packed his few belongings, left the station for good, and set out to build a real business. 6 months passed. At a grand corporate event in the city, The businessman was greeting guests when a dapper, confident man in a sharp suit approached him, hand extended. The businessman didn't recognize him at first. "You may not remember me," the man said with a bright, genuine smile, "but you changed my life. I was the beggar you challenged at the railway station." The businessman was floored. Standing before him was not a beggar, but a thriving, successful flower merchant, a peer, an equal. The two men stood there, two successful businessmen, sharing a moment of mutual respect. The former beggar had not only changed his circumstances, he had completely reinvented his reality. This story isn't just about a beggar and some flowers. It's about you. It's about me. It's about the incredible, transformative power of self-perception. We receive in life what we believe we are worthy of receiving, and that worthiness begins with giving. Your life is shaped not by your external conditions, but by the internal story you tell yourself. If you see yourself as poor in spirit, in talent, or in opportunity, that will be your world. But the moment you recognize the value you have within you, your ideas, your kindness, your unique skills, and you start to give that value to the world, everything changes. You are not defined by your past or your present situation. You are defined by your thoughts. Change your thoughts, and you will, without a doubt, change your future. What is it that you have to give? Think about it. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that empowers you to build the life you deserve. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next video.